we've been making progress on the mitten. So I had cut two pieces to sandwich the window sheet in. This is very good window sheet. It's durable, but it's not like so thick to where you can't cut it. So thank you again, Wendy, for pioneering this. This has been well worth its value because this is wonderful how these kids work out. She takes out all the muss and all the fuss literally and gives us what we need to guide us through a beautiful concept. So, what I ended up doing, and I'm just going to put this aside for a few, was I was telling you guys about the fabric that I had got from Walmart. It was 2 yards for $4. And then I also got a batch of 4 yards for $6. Morning, Turbid Girl. How are you? Hi, LaBrenda. How are you, sweetheart? So this is how this is turning out so far. And I think it's just darling. I'm going to try and focus this better. I need to get a tripod without a doubt. So this is the mitten concept. I showed you guys last night the cardboard part, basically the form. And so what I did was I took some polyfill, which is like some of that fluffy stuff that you use to stuff pillows or stuffed animals. And I just took a little bit and hot glued it around the edges because I wanted it to give it more of that mitten, puffy feel, something that keeps your hands warm. And so I did it all the way around. And then what I did was I took the fabric strips and then went ahead and covered it, and I just absolutely love it. It gives it a real like mitten scarf look to it, And so this is where I'm at with this project. I love it. It's been fun. It has soothed that crafting need. And I just needed to just switch for a few because Christmas is quickly approaching. And really, I got these templates to utilize for personal and for family. So, you are loving the mitten concept. Thank you so much, LaBrenda. You're a doll. You're always a doll. You are at work right now, but you're listening. Absolutely. Okay, so one thing I just want to add about this is the bottom part. So I did put stuffing on the bottom part of it. It makes it a little bit more difficult to sit upright because it's not level. So if you can, I could recommend maybe not putting stuffing on the bottom. One thing that I am hoping that's going to help with this is I'm going to be putting heavy items here. Like a big heavy body wash is going to go right here. And I think that's going to help hold that up. So if I could suggest something so far, it would be not to put stuffing on the bottom part if you're going to be presenting it upright. And I am going to be presenting it upright. So I'm going to be doing a couple of these. So on the next couple ones that we're going to be doing, I'm going to be using less stuffing to no stuffing on it. So I just think it's just probably the cutest thing I have ever seen and probably the most darlingest thing I have ever done. This has just been so much fun to do this. So the other thing that I wanted to show, I also want to state, if you plan on doing this, I want you to plan on some time in doing this. Because you are going to be tracing stencils. You are going to be cutting them out. You've got, let's see, 1, 2, here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6 good size stencils that you're uh, pieces that you're going to be tracing out. Then you're going to be cutting them, and then you're going to be gluing them. So that part is it's well worth a while to do it. But I just don't want you to think that you're going to sit down here in 15 minutes or a half hour and do this, because that's not the case. This does take some time and it does take some care, but it's very much so well worth it. You can literally feel, like I can feel the durability in this. Um, it's not, definitely not cheap feeling at all. The quality in this is just really good. You can feel the sturdiness in it, is what I want to say. You know, it's not like one of those cheap, flimsy um, boxes that you get, you know, at the gift place in Walmart or online. These are sturdy. They're also a really good keepsake. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys, and I hope I can get this right. I got some spiders in here. This took me, I want to say, this took me, I worked on this for the past couple days and I'm still not done. And each time I worked on it about 2 hours at a time. I want to say I did the stencils, half the stencils, and then, maybe an hour or so, I did the other half of the stencils. Um, just yesterday, I did the stuffing on the side and then covered it with the fabric. Okay, so what I wanted to do, maybe I can do it this way. So I'm going to show you guys both, both different ways of the presentation here. I mean, the window sheet is so durable, and like I was saying, it's very durable and easy to cut at the same time. So it's going to give you that stability, it's going to give you that clarity, it's going to give you the durability, it's going to give you all of that, guys. All right, I'm going to lift you guys up and I'm going to bring you to the top part, and you can see inside our mitten box. Isn't that neat? Oh, my stupid phone. Trying to keep you guys on this here. This is just so much fun. Very cool. I absolutely love how this is turning out. I'm going to try and bring it upright. You see trolls, okay. Hang on. Crafty Leo's in here. Hello, sweetheart. Let's see. Okay. All right, I think I got him. This is just, that sucks, this part of doing this. Okay. Thank you so much, Crafty Leo. Okay, so now that I got to deal with that, okay, so if you wanted to present it flat, you can definitely do that. This is giving you guys an idea of what it would look like. What I like about this is the depth. It is a good deep box. It's about 4 inches deep. And so I'm going to try and bring you guys, bring it upright and hold it to where you guys and myself can see um, what this is looking like with the lid. So the window sheet and the two things on top here make the lid. How about that? I gotta get that. There we go. I'm trying to hold everything and present it at the same time. So this is definitely, this is just the cutest thing I think I've ever seen. And if you got, you know, what I like to call like a hard candy Christmas, this is going to help out with that a lot. Um, you know, if you're a person, you know, that has, you know, I don't know, a big family, a lot of kids, maybe a lot of grandkids, this is a keepsake. It's something you could use every year. It is that durable. So I'm just going to try and bring this back up and around. Okay. So I'm not going to get this on perfectly, but I'm going to get it on here just enough to where we can get an idea of where our project is headed and what it's looking like. And it's just lining up so nicely. All right, so I'm going to try and get this upright. I'm just going to try and gently move all of this over. Oops. And, you know, I like how you can just see right inside there, but what you can see is the depth. You know, this can hold a lot of stuff. It's very user-friendly, everything. So I was going to state that this is so durable and everything. You know, you can make one for each child or make one for each grandchild or spouse or something of that nature, and you can reuse them. So I thought that would be, you know, another option for people. The stuff is so cheap out there, you guys. You know, those stockings, I don't see how those could last. Like the Christmas stockings that are out there. And then you know they don't, and then people just have to keep, you know, they keep buying them every year when they don't. You know, this gives them a better alternative to that, I think. So just wanted to show you guys where I'm at so far with this. I can't. This is just, I gotta go different with this because just keeps falling. Um, but you see those sides lining up so nicely. I love the fabric on this. So this is, you know, this is a fabric that you can do pink with it. You can do teal with it. You can keep it more of a neutral stance with it. Um, you know, you could do green, you could do red, you could do browns, you could do yellows. There's so much that you could, other colors that you can use to complement this. And so you can, we are going to be decorating this facing. Where's my camera at? Darn it. We are going to be decorating the facing part. I just haven't quite chosen a way yet. What I did have in mind, I got a Walmart, what I call a Buck Rogers ship date. It's going to arrive sometime in the future. Know what I mean? So I got a Buck Rogers ship date on two rolls of embossed contact paper, durable contact paper that's generally used for like the backsplash part of where your stove is. You know, it's like a very durable wallpaper, if you will. And so I got some embossed silver curly cues and some embossed gold foiled curly cues that is just going to look darling with it. So that Buck Rogers ship date has it arriving at October 22nd. um, what I'm going to be putting inside of mine, Okay, so I explained how verse the colors of this fabric is. What I'm going to do, and when I said, you know, how we're going to be decorating the facing, anything will go with it. Same thing with the ribbon. So you can really make this a feminine, masculine type of a gift. So what I'm going to be doing is this is going to be for a male, and I'm planning on using like a very pretty teal blue ribbon with a navy blue and gold snowflake embossed ribbon on this. And then I was going to use some the silver curly Q for the facing, or the gold. I have not decided yet what I was going to be decorating color wise with those. What I am going to be putting in it is some cologne, some body wash, um, some gourmet, some snacks, um, kind of stuff in here. And I might even put a hat and a scarf in there because it's snowed here in Arizona. It has snowed consistently here in Arizona for the past 5 years, and it's been getting um, heavier. So the snow, I mean, like last year, I went out and my New Year's, my patio table was covered in 2 feet of snow, and it stayed. It stuck and it stayed. That meant it was so cold, atmospheric wise, down here and you know and on the ground, that it was cold enough to stick and stay. You know, I live in the freaking desert, y'all. The desert. So, so I'll probably incorporate maybe some hat and gloves in that also. Snow and easy. And so the 2 years before that, it snowed on the Superstition Mountains, and it lasted for over 2 weeks. But it was like, how do I want to explain it? It was like ice. It was like chunks of ice covered with snow, which meant that it was cold enough to refrigerate that was already there and hold um, the frost, the lighter frosty snow, the flaky kind of snow up on a good portion of the snow caps and down through around the base of the freaking mountain. Um, Being that our summers are just inexorably hot and daunting, it's a really nice, cool welcome for us to be able to get to have that. So I was thinking body wash. I'm gonna put a stuffed plush of a Sour Patch Kid in there. It's a collectible. He loves Sour Patch Kids. And they're a collectible item. The dolls are. So they're like, they call them dolls, but really they're stuffed plush. So I'll be featuring that with it somehow. I might have it holding the mitten. But this is so deep that, I mean, it's got a lot of space, but it's like nice and deep, which is what I like about it. Hey there, Turban Girl. How are you, sweetie? Um, so, um, I was gonna say I got lots of different fabrics that I'm looking forward to being able to utilize with this project. So, like I said, I put some pillow fluff. I will have it out the next time I do another video. I am not coordinated and I am not organized, so I will be better prepared on my next one. But here's the bottom part. So I'll either be using less stuffing or no stuffing. because when I present this, I want it to be standing upright. Um, oh, thank you, Turban Girl. I'm so happy to hear all is well with you. Do you have any projects? Is anybody in here doing Purdy Girl Tasha's 10 gifts a day challenge for the next 7 days? You know, I just want to offer up some encouragement and some support if you're doing that. She's doing some kind of a prize at the end of it. Good morning, sweet Kimberly Showers. How are you, sweetheart? Um, Turban Girl, do you have any projects you have going on, sweetie? So what I wanted to state, if you guys wanted to do this, Wendy has smaller stencils, smaller templates. And if you guys wanted to do this, or if you wanted to keep these big templates, I'm going to tell you something. If you guys wanted to do this and have them as one of your concept gifts, I think it would go fast because it's unique. People love unique. They love that uniqueness. It brings so much value to it. So I just wanted to state that it is time consuming, but it's well worth it. So if you wanted to keep it for your family, you wanted to keep it for personal with friends, it's an excellent concept to do for them as well. Oh my goodness. I don't know if you guys could see my tape caddy. That's a little close. This thing is well worth its value. This is well worth its value here. I'm trying to get you guys to see how heavy duty it is. I'm telling you, it pulls tape right off easily, you know, and nothing gets sticky. And that fun stuff that we get to experience when we're working with tape. So what we have here, I'm going to show it to you guys again, is we have the Mitten gift box project in progress. You know, so kind of how we piece these together, it kind of gives it that scarf look to it. When I do the ribbon and I put the lid on, we're going to be doing the ribbon around the cuff of this. Thank you so much for the hearts. Oh, I'm excited to see your shorts, Turban Girl. Good for you. I can't wait to see your shorts. I just returned home and plan to work on some baskets for the outstanding. I know as soon as Thanksgiving hits, like it's on. I'm done for the month of November. I get busy to wanting to cook. I get busy to wanting to do just a lot of stuff and really enjoy the holidays, you know? And that's what I want to do this year. So I'm just going to bring this around, and for the people who came in that didn't get to see it, this is really good fabric. It's like a thick cotton jersey. It feels like a scarf, you know. It's really good material. So Walmart, if you go in their craft section, this was in there. See here, I'm so tongue twisted. 2 yards for $4, and it's pre-cut, or you can get 4 yards for $6. And it goes a long ways. It really, really goes a long ways. So what I was also going to state is you could also maybe put a scarf around the cuff, and put a cute little, you know, knot and bring it down if you wanted to. Um, Put a little hat up on top with the pom pom. There's so much stuff you could do with it, but this is where I'm at with it. I was stating, you guys, that I put some pillow stuffing, pillow fluff around the edges, and then covered it with the fabric because I wanted it to have that, thick mitteny look and feel to it. So next up is I'm gonna show you guys the lid. And I really wanted to show this on live and on video, but it's just too much to talk and explain at the same time as I'm doing this for the first time. And there's a lot of stuff that I don't want to I just want to be able to explain it in a good way. So this is going to be the lid. And here we go. And this upper part is something that I still need to work on decorating. But it's coming along really nicely. One thing about this template is just, around, and then on these two, it's just the inside, and then that's it. It's done. It's not like a real detailed thing where you got to get out the X-Acto knife. So I wanted to bring this along and share this with you guys, and how this is doing, and I just absolutely love it. So, if I haven't said it before, I'm really going to say it now. We can make plans and God laughs. One thing that I've realized with designing is I'll have something in mind and it kind of takes on its own thing, And so, like I said, this is going to be 4 ml. I'm going to be using some teal blue ribbon with it, and then some navy blue with some gold embossed snowflakes on it. And then for the top facing part of it, I was going to use some embossed thick foil, a silver color. So that's just kind of like a basic rough-in. And then, you could also put ornaments. You can put ornaments inside. You can put ornaments outside. You can do whatever you want with these. Thank you so much, Kimberly. I really appreciate that. Another person, I believe it was LaBrenda, who said, I love it when a plan comes together. Because you know how we have those projects where the only way we're going to know, because it's so new, is we got to do it, and things don't always work out, kind of a situation. What I love about this was Wendy went through the blood, sweat, and tears and getting all the corks and everything out of this. So I'm just so thankful to her, and her templates are very reasonable, and she's very generous, and all of it with it, very, very generous. So I just wanted to share that with you guys and bring you guys a little bit along with it. This has been so much fun. I was also gonna say, if you have kids or if you have grandkids, you guys could sit down and do some of these with your kids or grandkids or friends even. Team, hey. Oh, what was I gonna say? What was his name? Mr. T. And like the TV series A-Team, you guys are great. Um, so she's got smaller mitten templates over there too. Um, I chose the bigger one because, like, it's going to be a basket, you know, and I'm going to have a lot of stuff in there. So, it's coming along really nice. I just love how I found the fabric. I couldn't believe, you know, I was staring right at it because this fabric can go for 20, 40, 60 plus dollars a yard. It's very expensive. And I got 2 yards for $4, or you can get 4 yards for $6. And, you know, it's that winter material. It's that winter look. It's that I even got corduroy. So I'm gonna do a white corduroy one with some faux fur around the facing, and then do some like red ribbon to go with it. And I think that would look just darling. And maybe like some red and white ornaments. Um, Kind of like make it look like Eskimoing it. So, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm just gonna look through the chat here. You guys are just so wonderful. Um, so the window sheet is reasonable. You get like 13 sheets for $13, and they're a good size. They are a really good size. But like what Wendy was stating in the video, you know, is that she likes this because you can actually cut it. It cuts easily. So I'm going to need to be able to do that when dealing with the excess around the corners and stuff. When you get into the thicker plexiglasses, that stuff is very hard to cut. And if you're doing a intricate, um, intricate, intricate form, you know, you're going to have a hard time cutting that. Even something as simple as a mitten, going around those curves and stuff. So, this is perfect. Just perfect, perfect, perfect. Everything just could not be more perfect with this. Um, so does anybody have questions on it? Last night I did a small live and showed it all glued together. And today oh God, I'm just so tongue twisted. I hate it. So I showed it glued together, and then I covered it with polyfill, just a little bit, not much, and then put the fabric over it, and that's what we're featuring today. Once the foil comes in, I'll be doing the facing of it, or I'll be choosing some other kind of material to put around the facing on it. And so we're here in October. This is for Christmas, so I have a couple months to be working with it. I also wanted to let everybody know Walmart is having a huge sale of some kind starting October 7th, going through October 12th. And apparently it's for online and in store. And they're talking about toys half off, beauty half off, all that kind of stuff. So if you have not heard about that, um, I strongly suggest, you take a look at it. And I think most commonly their hours are open till 1 p.m. So when I was telling you guys earlier about daylight savings time, that would be 8 to 9 to 10 to 11. That's 8 p.m. my time, which means I could go to a store and they'd still be open and it would be October 7th. Does that make sense? I just might be heading up there and checking some things out and showing people what that looks like. So, Pooh, my goodness, my girl, my girl, my girl, my girl. How are you, Miss Pooh? If you are in a state that isn't on that 3 hour ahead observed by our eastern coast states, Walmart is going to be, technically, those sales are going to start today at 8 p.m. Know what I mean? If you're in any state, let's see. I think even maybe even up to Texas is up, what, 2 hours maybe behind. Anyways, I was gonna say you can get a jump start on it. The other thing that I was gonna state is midnight tonight. If you get online, no matter where you're at, in the USA, that those sales should start. I'm doing great, Pooh. I was just showing off a mitten that I'm doing. Try and get this up and off of the, I had bought in some templates from Wendy over at A Journey Through Time. I bought a mitten. And here it is, girl. Whoop. Let me see if I can't get something like this with it. I gotta cut it out. That's why it's kind of wonky here. So I think it helps to take a break to do something different. So I've been doing Valentine's Day and Christmas is coming up, so I want to make sure I get Christmas taken care of for the family. And so I decided to do a mitten while waiting for my tables, which are supposed to be coming today, to be able to work in the Mel's house. And here's what it looks like. So it's very cool looking, and you can like put ornaments. You can do, the sky is the limit with these, and I couldn't be happier. You know what it was like. It's like you can go to Disneyland, and you can pay the $25 price to get in, and it's unlimited, but you have to stand in all the lines. Well, Disneyland also has a speed pass option where you get to go to the front of the line. That's what this is like. It was so nice. I was so happy to pay. So happy to pay because she has this worked out so well and so thought out, like right down to the to the window sheet. My God, it's heaven to be able to work with something that goes so smooth like that, So, yeah, that's what this was like. This is just a lot of fun, and this being that, I'm doing them for my family, yeah, it's all a mitten, but they're all different. They're 4 inches deep. So I can create all kinds of different stuff in there. You can do even a Christmas scene. If you're out there vending, this would work great as a display. You can put a nice Christmas snow scene in it. I was going to look into getting rotating turntables and putting a couple baskets on, maybe like two of those, and put them up on the display because I think that that really is going to draw attention. But if you have your display decorated, to the theme of the holiday, it really excites people. It gets them into what they're shopping for. Turban Girl BAGs says, grace and peace to you, Pooh. How are you doing at your new job? And I saw you're going strong with the Christmas tree lot. Girl, you are hitting it. You are hitting it. And you're doing concepts and baskets that are fire. All fire, girl. So I just want to love on you and give you just a huge hug on your stamina, on your resilience, on your drive, on your strength. You are all in on life. On life, man. And you're really embracing it, and you're really doing you're really hailing that. So I just wanted to give some love to you because you're working two jobs, you're a full-time mom, and you're doing basketing, and you are working priorities. You are doing priorities. You are handling business. You are so, so welcome, sweetheart. What are you going to do on your day off? You going to do any concepts? You going to rest and relax? Oh, you guys know what else I got? I got some silicone forms for the white chocolate. I'll be showing those up ahead. I did just a couple things about Dollar General. Because I have some stuff going on in my personal life, and I just, I couldn't take much time on it. I just wanted to get it out there. Hey, this is what I got. This is what's going on, and give a little runabout with it. But I've had literally a tornado happening. I mean, just happening right here in my personal home, in my life, and my effects. Okay, my effects. And so I just had to put that out there for a few with the Dollar General stuff. But boy, I got a lot of good stuff, you guys. And I'll tell you what, with a business model, and I'm always critiquing it and adding to stuff in that kind of a way. But like there's certain colors that will not go, like yellow and orange. There are some people out there who can utilize those colors and they do it very well. But if there's pink and purple, I'm getting them over yellow and orange. And so they had some yellow and oranges, and I was like, I can't get this because the reason why I'm buying this is for basketing, and it will not go. But these other colors are going to go in a New York minute. So I left some stuff behind. I'm just going to have 2 tables, not 16, and bring stuff out as it moves. I don't want to, I'm not that great. I just want to be simple, LLCs are a good thing, but I don't want to take, a month to figure out how I'm going to do yellow and orange. I know damn good and well those colors just don't move. Pink and purple and red go on the fly, so I ain't messing with it. I ain't messing with that. That is the business model, and so I worked it. I worked that model and left some stuff behind. You don't go shopping, Pooh. You guys, I got these huge super soakers from $2.50 to $5. These things go for $50. Battery operated. These things are really cool. I've got some friends with some small kids that, I can play an aunt, to them. Um, what I liked about it is it also, you get to be and feel like a kid yourself, when you're looking at all the toy stuff, right? Not tell anybody. Have you guys ever seen that movie Brewster's Million with Richard Pryor? It's a hilarious movie. It's older. It's probably 30 years old. If you have not seen Brewster's Million, you gotta see Brewster's Million. Basically, a rich uncle, very rich uncle, left his inheritance to Richard Pryor with some parameters. And one of the parameters is that he has to spend something like $20 million in 30 days, and he can't have nothing on the 31st day. By nothing, that means he cannot own anything. And so watching him spend the money was hilarious, and all the creative ways that he came up to spend the money without having any assets. I mean, he can't even have, a candy bar at the end. And it said that he can only give so much to charity. He can only buy like so much artwork. Um, you guys got to go see that movie because when it comes to clearances, it's like kind of like how I feel. I can't see another. Listen, you guys, I saved $100 at a freaking dollar store. What does that tell you? The clerk said this is the most I've ever seen anyone save and to date. To date. Guys, I was getting quarter items that were $5 I got for 25 cents, and they're some really good items, really durable water bottles with some really nice silicone around it, good handles. I got those for a quarter. So that's, I just couldn't, I just wouldn't, I'd fall over. And you know what? I was thinking also how, we're never going to see 25-cent items ever again. That was like the big thing in the Great Depression. What people don't know about the Great Depression was how cheap everything was. Things were 10 cents, a nickel. That's where those five and dime stores came from. That's where those five and dime diners came from. And when they came up with the idea of credit cards, because anybody can afford a $5 payment, it inflated the hell out of everything. So, with that being said, I never thought I'd ever see something, quarter items ever again. And lo and behold, I just got a bunch of them. Oh, God bless you, Pooh. You're such a good mama. You know that. You're just such a good mama. Um, I don't know if you know this, but Walmart has a sale going on from October 7th to October 12th. It's online and it's in stores. And what was mentioned was toys and health and beauty. So I wanted to add, see here, usually those computer clocks are set to Eastern time, which is 3 hours ahead my time. So when it hits 12:01 New York time, so 9, 10, 11, 12, which is 9 p.m. my time, and if I have a cart full of stuff online, that's when those sales should hit. 9 p.m. my time, maybe go and look in some of the, in stores. Um, and get ahead of it. Um, so I just wanted people to be very, um, I want you guys to be in a good position and have a good opportunity to get this kind of stuff. And it's probably, from what I've been hearing, is it's probably going to be all their summer stuff, all that kind of stuff. People like Esmery has been hitting some really good Walmart clearances. And people are saying upper management is literally coming physically into these stores and saying, get this stuff up and out of here. We need to be bringing Christmas in here, get all this summer stuff. I want it up and out of here. Because it looks like there's been some hoarding going on. And that's all I'm going to say on that. So apparently, wallets are being hurt and affected in a right way to where they're making them come up off the stuff. Clarence did a drastic rate to where we get to take an advantage of that. Okay. So, but yeah, one of those shop till you drops, I swear I could just roll over. I'm just, oh my God. I had so much fun in that. Um, it's nice when you can get deals like that complement your gifts, um, in that kind of a way. So, yeah, I want you guys to head straight on into Christmas. We're going to get ours. So, I just want to share some experience, strength, and hope, and what I've been eyeballing and what I've been doing. These mittens are great concepts. I think they'd fly right the heck off your table because they're different and they're unique and they're fun and they look like, that gift type thing. But like I said, they're a bit time consuming, so now would be a good time to start those if you wanted to do some. If you wanted to keep it personal with your family, it's just a neat thing to do. Let me see. I think my chat might be getting stuck here. Crafty Leo, I'm still here. I'm in. Yeah. Here's Big. Is that Tennessee? I'm in. Okay. That was the journey. So are you talking about Tennessee and New Mexico, or do you mean something else, sweetheart? I'm in. I'm in. You know, my eyesight has gotten really bad. It gets really blurry. And so, by the way, if you see me on other people's channels and I'm typing in caps, that's why. It's because I can't see what I'm typing. I have to use all caps so I can, read what I'm typing. Oh no. Why is it horrible, Pooh? You know what? When I was 30, I looked hard at going to Missouri because I like all the green. I want to get the hell out of the desert. All the green, all the barbecue, all the beauty. Um, you know, but why is it horrible in Missouri, sweetheart? That was your baby typing all that. Aw. Oh dear God. You're on the murder map. Jealousy people. Okay. Um, Stay the hell away from festivals. Anywhere there's a large group of people, I'm going to tell you guys, harvest festivals, carnivals, Halloween events, harvest festivals, stay the hell away from them. Stay away from crowds. Stay away from groups. Don't listen to these. I don't. I don't know how much I want to get into this. Um, you know that saying, "Those who scream the loudest." I want you to stay the hell away from them. You know, with all this racial just stuff going on. Um, I want you to do your research very carefully. You know, because you don't need to beat them to join them, right? You definitely don't need to join them to beat them. I just want you to do your research very well on it. Um, Watch your schools. I find that, well, I can't get into that really either, but I don't know if you guys remember the Las Vegas shooting. You guys would not believe that coordinated attack. You just wouldn't believe it. So, the Las Vegas shooting was at a Harvest Music Festival. It was like shooting fish in a barrel. You guys, these casinos here, if you haven't seen Las Vegas, you guys need to do some looking around because these are palaces. These are marble floors. These are skyscrapers of neat architecture and beauty. They put a lot of money into their casinos. They're also really close to each other. Well, the way that music festival was staged was in a way where it was in the middle, close to all the other casinos, with rooms facing that way and windows facing that way, and there was 6 shooters from what they can tell so far. They're investigating, and you know what, it's been 13 years freaking later. So they had shooters right there out the window. Just a massacre like you wouldn't believe. And because it was a concert, it was a music festival, people were packed in. So if you weren't shot, then you were trampled, and everybody was trying to get out, and you have that bottleneck effect of, people couldn't get out, not alive, and roadblocks. Police had roadblocks, everything. It was the worst that I have seen yet. Okay. And I know someone, I need to do something. I got to do something. Someone do something. Well, I got to believe some way, somehow, that is happening, and all this other stuff that's going on is retaliation out of it. All right? So people hate us. Best believe it. Hate us. Have no problem seeing us tortured, our kids tortured, and all that kind of stuff. The fact that that freaking idea is out there and operating scares the shit out of me. You need to be real. You need to be factual. And you need to get what you need to get done, and you go straight the heck home. And you have a plan for fires. You have a plan for floods. You know, you need to have that in place. Because I got to tell you guys, we had more wildfires here than we have ever had in our history. And I had to evacuate. You know, we had evacuation orders, and thankfully it freaking rained. You cannot imagine what a great big mountain looks like on freaking fire. You know, you go out your house, there is smoke freaking everywhere. It's like you're in a war zone. It's unbelievable. So, you know, what I do for my fire plan is I have my dirty laundry basket. I've got Tide Pods, or if I have laundry soap at the time, that just gets thrown right in the basket and I'm the hell out of there. That's how fast I need to evacuate. Well, you know what? That's how fast I can evacuate. Because, you know, obviously, you know, I got some nightgowns in there. I've got some clothes in there that are sensible. You know, and then go to a campsite close to a city. If you have no money for a hotel, you know, it's, you know, a reasonable place for you to be in your car. And a lot of those places have Wi-Fi charging. You have access to water and restrooms. And that's my plan. That was my plan, you know, and stay evacuated for however long I needed to. You know, Google where the laundry facilities are in the area. Get some quarters if I don't already have some on hand, you know, and wash laundry and, you know, move forward as best as we can in that. So yeah, that happened. That was quite a bit. So I know your concerns, and I'm with you on it. You are not alone. Yeah. Someone made a status. It's a lot of mean girls in St. Louis. Yeah. And it's so true. I stay away from folks. I don't like people, honestly. No, sweetheart, I don't either. You know, I feel like I'm just, you know, we're just extending to pretend and pretending to extend. I'm going to tell you this, Pooh. You know, I'm just going to say this, and I don't know how I'm going to say it. And this is for all of you. Mean girls are doing some very mean things. I have a feeling, you know, like teenagers, you know, up into the mid-20 ranges. I tell you what, I just could not function for a good day when I had heard on the news that a group of friends lured a girl. They're just going to go to a ravine and hang out. Do you know they turned on that girl and stoned her to death? And those were supposed to be her friends. Stoned her to death and left her in the ravine. What's not on the news? What's not on the goddamn news? Okay, I need you to watch your freaking kids. They need to have activities for them to do at home. And, you know, that's it. No friends. Not at least unsupervised. Man, these things happen so fast and things are so freaking deviant. You know, I just want to go to the ice cream truck with so and so, and boom, they're getting ran over by the back tires of it. Things happening that you cannot freaking imagine. We're talking a motive of operation, of a thought process. You cannot freaking comprehend. Can't comprehend with an optimal objective in mind. And you got to take it seriously. You got to take it freaking seriously. And I caught myself doing it too. I was like, the Arizona State Fair is coming. And I'm like, oh, F no, I can't do that. Because know this right now. You know, I don't know why we're all waiting for freaking general to declare a high terrorist attack advisory. I don't know why we're waiting for that. You know, we don't need one to tell us that. What I do need you to do is act like it. I have people pulling their kids out of school and homeschooling them. I think that's a great idea. You know, they need to dedicate a certain amount of time. You know, if you got, you know, they can go with their grandmother to do it during the day. If you got to hire a babysitter during the day to do it. You know, I don't recommend daycare centers because we know what Sam Hook was about. That man that went up and shot up a freaking daycare center. And this is just, you know, one in the numbers that this is happening. You know, I was telling Pooh, you know, before that I'd bribe my kid. I just bribe her. You know, that's the best I can do. You know, I just bribe her because it's the best I can do. Because we're not given what we need to function socially, mentally, emotionally, freaking physically. You know, we need these things to function, and the world is a frightening damn place. And Pooh, Louisville Slugger baseball bat. They're made in Louisville, Kentucky. I need you to get one. You can get one for $10. They are certified for World Series, baby. And I need you to have it within arm's reach. In your bed, next to your bed, something. Because that's going to crack some skulls fast for you. You know, these home invaders, they don't know how hard a bat can swing. So yeah, I was talking about girls, and I was talking about teenagers, and I was talking about youth stuff. That is going on. Do not let her hang around anyone older than her. You know, don't let a, 12, 15-year-old, 12-year-old, don't do it. You can't do it. And keep them within reasonable eyesight. If there's anything that I could say would be best, it would be to have them playing with each other and with you. Oh, Leo, you're on it, girl. Crafty Leo. Yeah, I try to stay to myself as much as possible. Yeah, that's because that's all we can do. I stay close to myself, and I got a freaking bat, okay? I got some crazy fucking neighbors out there that I have ran off with that bat very successfully, I might add you. You know, the cops, they don't come. You know, they say, well, it's county and the sheriffs are supposed to come. The sheriffs don't come. Well, you know what? No one's coming. I'm stepping up. I am freaking stepping up, man, because I want this shit up and I want it out of here. Because you know why? There's good people here who just can't defend themselves. You know, they too are working their asses off. 2, 3 jobs, both the wife and the husband. You know, just to fucking pay rent. You know, so we know what all that looks like. But I tell you what, law enforcement doesn't come. So there's, I've been told. I've been told. So my next action is that, and I got my Louisville Slugger next to my bed. It's got a nice to it. Get what I'm saying? That's sad. You guys, I'm going to tell you something. What we don't hear on the news is what frightens the shit out of me. There was another one that I saw. This girl was 6 feet tall, couple 100+ pounds, and was in a volleyball. What is it? On her way to finals or something, on her way to the Olympics. Let me tell you how fast this freaking happened. She's 6 foot tall, couple 100 pounds. She's a good sized girl, healthy. She went out of the house for a matter of 15 minutes and gone. She was gone. She was lured out by friends. So the family had some home security cameras. They saw one camera and they could just see her walking by. Just calmly walking by as she would. Do you know what happened to her? So she was tied to the railroad tracks. And the aftermath of that, they were still picking up pieces of her skull with hair still stuck to it. And this is the mother that was doing this. That, they didn't do a good job cleaning up. I'm finding this. I mean, oh my God, what do you say to that? I can't comprehend that. There was a life that I used to live where I didn't have to accept so much loss. Like, this is my day. This is our day. Never in a million years did I ever. And sometimes I feel like it's like, oh, just keep crafting. It'll be okay. Well, no. I feel like what I get out of this is just maybe it just distracts me just enough for a few, so the mental anguish doesn't paralyze me so much. So I'm going to tell you right now, that kind of stuff is going on. And it does not have to be yours. That's all it took for 15 minutes. A girl who is 6 foot tall, a freaking volleyball player, spiked that thing. Healthy freaking girl. Good size. A Goliath. And these tied her to the tracks, and y'all know what happened next. And, it was a couple hours later that the parents had got, there was ambulances everywhere. There's cops freaking everywhere, and how they got the news on that. Oh, I got a personal story. I have so many freaking personal stories. My brother was shot last year, point blank with a .45 by a goddamn neighbor. We live in a small town. It's a damn western town. This guy and my brother went to turn away from him, and he shot him. Because my brother wasn't getting away from him. Because that piece of shit had it in his head. Just had it in his head. Something. I don't know. Shot my brother, and fortunately he lived. And he still has problems. like with breathing and stuff. The bullet went in and exited, missed his heart by a hair, missed his spinal cord by a hair. I have personal experience with this. Do you know my mother was at her kitchen sink window washing dishes while this was going on and did not know it? Did not freaking see it until the cops were all around. Do you know that? I'm just still at a loss for it. Like, you know, we talk about like all these coping mechanisms and stuff. I didn't know I needed to cope. I mean, I just didn't even know I needed to cope. You know? Yeah, that's another thing, Pooh. Um, that's a very good idea, but I don't think it would be a good idea if, say, your man had some other kids around too. Um, just that you keep it that small and you keep a keen eye. I have personal experience with this, and they just since the guy, the piece of shit, took a 5-year plea deal. It makes me want to cry. How someone could just be so evil, you know, took the girl to a ravine. They were her friends, and they stoned her to death. You know what, Crafty Leo? I keep saying that with so much stuff. You know what my brother said? He said, "Really? I get shot after I really? This is what I get." And you know, it's hard not to take things personal. There's some sick motherfuckers out there, and it's like, well, where does God's protection and love and care and all that fit in? I don't know. Um, I don't know. I think it's really fucked up that this stuff goes on. I do not think it's a part of his will. So much pain and suffering and needless freaking sorrow. Um, what that does for me, what that does to me, is it poisons me. It poisons me when I get into those unanswered questions. And believe me, you know, I can't say unanswered. I'll just say questions that cannot be answered. Um, you know, I believe in a loving God that can, and stuff like that. You're damn right that shit's important to me. You know, what did I sign up for when I turned my care, my will, and my life over the care of a loving God? You know, and you know, sometimes it gets to where I get like, "I'll bet you're taking care of through it." Well, fuck that. Just fuck that. Let's just go ahead and, you know. Remember when baskets were wonderful and people liked each other and remember all that? How about we get back to that, God? How about we? Um, yes. He kept him here. Hang on one second. Okay. You watch Fear Thy Neighbor, and that's enough for me. Um, it's not fear porn when it's really happening. I say, I need you guys to educate the best you can. One of those things, I don't know if you guys know this, but you know how from like Home Depot, you can get, those cement blocks to build a fence. They were dropping off pallets of those in neighborhoods because they were going to blitzkrieg them and smash whatever was in their path with those. So I'd say you start seeing those pallets, you start asking questions because those are for you. Those are for you. Those are for anybody who stands in their way. And you're just, you, me, everyone else, we're just basically, yeah, we are hostages in this. Something's not getting their way on something. And when they don't get their way on something, they go and shoot up a school. They go in and, all this shit. And what I can say is I feel like something, come on now, this little caddy, made it here overnight shipping right there at my door. Something does that. Something definitely greater than me can move heaven and earth to get me a freaking paper clip. What the fuck is going on with that? I'm real fucked up right now, y'all. Move heaven and earth to get me a paper clip, because yeah, that's just really important. I can do a lot with it, These little titanium scissors. Thank you for the suggestion, Hope. Your tape will not stick to these. They're great. They were $6.99 on Amazon. I think they're 8 or 9 inch scissors. Heaven and earth was moved to get me these. So what I can say is that if I stay in I don't know. I mean, devastation has its own psychological process. I've always said grief is a phenomenon that I will never understand. The brain goes through some kind of trauma when we're dealing with the loss of a loved one, and the brain goes through some stuff to, I don't know, reset itself, or to get to adjust for that. And there's some things that come along with that. So when you're in grief and you're dealing with the loss of a loved one, you don't make any big decisions. Do what you can, because it will really mess you up. I know when I lost my dad, I just get forgetful. I go into stores and look for him, see things he'd like and would think of him. But my brain was just, and it would get stressed out because why am I forgetting this stuff? And it just, made it worse. So, all that extra love, all the extra care, all that extra everything is important. It's important for us to do that, because poison will kill us, And so what happens is they win that way too. Don't necessarily have to, come in, shooting us up or poisoning us. They'll, get us to do it to ourselves. There's a very high suicide rate right now. There's been a high suicide rate. Get your kids used to saying no to people. Just no. No isn't necessarily for adults and strangers. They need to get that boundary down, and they need to get used to that word no. No more please and thank you days. I'm trying to get into more of this chat here. See, what I don't like is decisions being made on behalf of our kids with this transgender bullshit. You know, mutilating our kids so that we can't procreate. Do you understand that, you people? They want they want us Americans to be extinct. Do people not get that? Okay, well that's what's going on. They don't want us to procreate. They hate us. Hate us. To the extent of the stuff that I discuss that they have no problem doing. You know, I don't know if you've seen that movie Speed with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock. That's what's going on. You know, and Keanu Reeves said when asked, you know, well, what's going to happen if you actually, you know, get the hostages off the bus and, you know, everyone's saved? Keanu Reeves says, you know what, we'll just be playing the same game tomorrow. Just be a different bus, might be a different train, different school, hosting a harvest fest, creating a fish in the barrel type of a situation. Aw. You know, Crafty Lee, I really appreciate you. So when I get into things like heaven and earth being moved to bring me a paper clip and it messes me up, you know, I mean, it kind of also hits home, I don't know, on what, you know, kind of what's meant to be and, you know, how, you know, my loving God is showing I care for you. I love you. I am precise. I do know. Things can be painful. I talked about recovery before. Just because we get recovery doesn't mean we're not immune from life on life's terms. Whoever thought this stuff would have been life on life terms? Who would ever thought World War II, the damn Nazis that never ended, and trust me, they did not end. And we all know how brutal and disgusting they were and the lengths that they would go to. It's just unfathomable to me, but that's what we have. So with that being said, Pooh, you can get some cookie cutters and do pancakes, and your kids can use cookie cutters and decorate their pancakes. That might be another fun activity for them. I just thought of that. You get powdered sugar, you know, get those little different sprinklies and stuff, and have different activities for them. But yeah, you know, it's like you think you work through something and, you know, reality hits. It's like, yeah, this is really freaking going on. Well, what do I do? What do I do? You know, it feels like sometimes having a freaking plan in place just isn't enough. Yet some way, somehow it has to be. It has to be because I can't have it poisoning me. You know, if they don't do it, man, the poison will. We have something that we say resentment is you taking the poison and expecting the other person to die. You know, so let them drink, not you. You know, I had one person say, I'll tell you what, I didn't know I had any enemies. You know, I have no enemies. I did not know I had enemies. You know, I ain't a hate and I ain't out to hate kind of a person, but I'll tell you what, apparently I have some. We all have some enemies. So I'm just going to let you know that right now. um, maybe you could do Halloween activities at home, Pooh. Um, and Halloween games and prizes just for your two girls and not have to go out in the trick or treating scene. Um, I really feel for you guys. I really feel for you. And you guys just aren't alone. And I would like to spend this energy, in nurturing and encouraging and supporting, because we all, and you guys know how I feel about that downward deserving. It's a funny word, right? So, I'm not going to use that word. I'm going to say, you all are worth some feeling good moments. Some, you guys, are worth that. And I'm funny with that word rights too. So I'm not going to really mention that when it comes to um, some things, but to take that moment and allow yourself to feel good about what you've done is a huge thing. And to do it and to share it with others is just marvelous. It's inspiring. Very inspiring. So, how's everyone else doing so far? Because um, is there anything anybody wants to discuss? Get this. We have a hellhole town called Globe, Arizona. It flooded. It just wiped the whole town out. There was blips of that on the news. I, I'm not going to say anything more on it. It was unbelievable. Because here in Arizona we have flash flooding. Other places, when people hear flooding, they think of stagnant water. That's like 30 plus feet. The town is under 30 plus feet of water. Here it's flash flooding, and it'll carry your car off like that. So it just wiped out. It wiped out the whole freaking town, man. I just can't believe it. And then get this. It caught on fire this past year. The year before it caught on fire. Now it's flooded out. That town is wiped out. I never in a million years would have thought that. That's another thing I wanted to discuss, Pooh, if you're still here on here. Um, if a little girl wants to encourage to take one of your daughters to go meet a bigger girl, say an older sister or a friend that she has, you say hell no and get your kids the hell away from that kid. Because whether that kid knows it or not, they're luring. They are freaking deviant, man. They got a thought process. That is their thought process. That's their freaking thought process. I can't comprehend that. That's their, you know, unbelievable. Oh my. Yeah. Um, I don't know. People are saying that this is biblical proportions. I'm going to tell you guys some stuff that I need you guys to take a look at. And I just need you to just ponder it for a few. Let's say that this hidden government, I call it a shadow government, operates worldwide. Let's just say they're gonna make a little plan called Revelations, kind of like a false Revelations, and it's gonna scare the bejesus out of all of us. And oh, you know, it's a second coming, and what it's about is to get us running back to them, because faith is a hell of a thing. Faith is a dangerous. Faith can be very dangerous. If you have to kill in the name of God, you need to find a new God. And that includes Christ. Christ can defend himself. He doesn't need you killing anybody for him. Okay? Or in his name or any of that stuff. God, my God is so big. Believe this, he can defend himself. He doesn't need me defending anyone for him. All right? So with that being said, all these religions have a fundamental base of revelation. Some have it calling it the rapture. I'm going to tell you guys right now, they have anti-gravity technology. Part of the things of the rapture is you'll float off in the sky like Christ did. These people have no problem floating y'all up in the sky thinking you're going to go to your creator to drop you like that from a couple 100 feet in the air. So I'm going to tell you, if you feel like you're starting to float, I want you to grab onto something next to you. Okay? That's how deviant they are. So with that being said, there is one, a real one. It's just not in a way that we would think it is. And it's going to be for them. You know, it's going to be for them. I know that. So I want you guys to be careful with your scriptures. I want you to be careful with your pastors. They can get zealous. You know, for the Lord says, we on our way home. So you don't need to worry about nothing and so such care here. Oh yeah, you do. Because none of us need to go home that early. So, know that God is God. Like I said, all this stuff is happening. And, I get freaking scissors. Heaven and earth moved for scissors to be delivered to my doorstep. It's pretty incredible. So, I get these things. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm not only that, but I meant to basket and crafted. Kind of mixed messages are sending me here. But by God, I am God. And I have moved heaven and earth to bring you scissors. Believe me, I know the works. You are in my works. I know what's important to you. And I need you to know, that I care for you this much to move heaven and earth to bring about these scissors. I think that when I put the focus on what is going right, it alleviates a lot of that pain and paralysis and fear and despair and devastation. When I look at that, and I can't look at it too hard because then, I feel like a fool going off a cliff sometimes, because then we get more mass murders and I'm like, what? So, what I want to say is it does help. It helps to, have my thinking along those lines. So, and you do need to keep to yourself. Just no doubt about it. Um, what else do I want to say? Yeah, we're just in a massive hidden war. So you guys just need to be keen. You need to be astute, right? Until we get through this. And we will get through this. Does anybody have anything they want to discuss? Like my mitten. After all that, you guys like, do you like my mitten? We will get through this. You're damn right, crafty Leo. We need to, um, you know, I get it like twisted sometimes, and like, it's not where we've been, but it's where we are going. And where I've been has been for so long that it's hard to have a foresight of, well, where am I going? And so, the solution into that is to keep going with what I'm doing. And, whatever it is, if it's in a healthy way, baking helps with it. If you guys can get some of these pre-made crust for pies, I highly recommend that. It's nurturing. Um, this crafting helps. And I got a lot of self-centeredness going on with my family, and people around me, and this just might be one of these things where I just get to drop it off at his doorstep. I don't even get to talk to him. I don't even get to say Merry Christmas. None of that. But for me to be able to do this, it still means a lot, because he was shot. I can't believe my brother was freaking shot, man. And just, it was just so awful. The mailboxes were out in the front yard, and that's where that piece of shit attacked my brother. And my brother went to turn to walk away from him, and it was, you're not getting away from me, and freaking shot him. Don't ever tell me life is fragile. I don't need a plaque for that. So, I have a mother whose birthday is today. She's 69 years old. She's a very difficult person to, she's a very difficult person all the way around. And so how I treat it like, a mentally ill person. She just doesn't have the capability to be socially acceptable, in family life, out there, and, in any kind of a social life with people. She is a narcissist. Oh, yes, she is. So I feel like if she was in her right mind, she wouldn't be behaving the way she's behaving. She's just severely mentally ill. She does not have the capability to be socially acceptable in her family life, in her friend life, in a working environment, any kind of environment. So, with that being said, if she was in her right mind, if she had those capabilities to do that, she would definitely not be acting the way she's been acting. right? So, I had a special cheesecake made by a local baker, and paid, some good money for it because I wanted her to have something special. And oh boy, she came down with COVID, and now she's feeling a bit better. And then shit hits the fan with my freaking daughter. And here I just put this order in for a very expensive custom cheesecake that I don't know now what the hell I'm going to do with. So I might be having cheesecake for dinner tonight. That kind of stuff tends to happen a lot. Um, Anyways, does anybody have any experience with that? Thank you so much, Crafty Leo. You're just such a compassionate, personable person. Thank you. Um, okay, how many mittens do you plan to make? At least 3. So, my daughter's getting one, my mother's going to get one, and my brother's going to get one. And it's going to have all their stuff stuffed inside of it, instead of wrapping up a bunch of presents and things like that. I thought I would do one of these for them. Aw. You certainly try to be. Absolutely. I challenge. I got a challenge for y'all. You got 10 days to figure out how to watch Brewster's Million. Pretty sure you can find it on Amazon or Netflix or something. 10 days to watch Brewster's Million. You guys are going to love it. Oh my gosh, it's one of my favorite movies. So, so I've had to do things like that a lot. Leaving things on people's doorsteps, in their mailbox, sending texts. Like the conversation, I think the what's become socially acceptable today is by text. Because it's such a confrontational world full of so much contention, argument, and conflict, that we have to be very careful and think about what we're going to say and how we're saying it. It's a lot of work. you know, Tell me that ain't crazy. Well, I know what I'm living. And so, we got, you know what I mean? And so what that means is it tells me that people are gentle. They're of grace, they're of mercy, they're of compassion. Their first impulse is not to be of, um, attack and harm and that kind of a thing. You know, it's in our nature. First and foremost, we are gentle creatures. We usually, we're not the ones to fire until fired upon. That's not our purpose in life. That is not our purpose in life. Isn't that something? um, so, um, people are hurting really bad. I gave this lady at my mother's office a gift. I had just met her, and she works there. She's a new person, and I had some leftover Mother's Day stuff, and I just pulled out like the Mother's Day card and gave her the gift, and she got tears in her eyes. It's like, oh my gosh, thank you. You know, we are creatures of gratitude. It doesn't take much to make us happy. Um, the majority of us, anyways, it doesn't, we're creatures of gratitude, you know. Oh, yeah. She, it just breaks my heart because, what's that saying? It ends, the saying ends with, but to the world, you may mean everything to that one person. And I'm finding that to be the truth. You might be the world and mean the world to that person. Yeah. And, I have self centeredness, no doubt about it. And, if I can stop and think about the idea that someone just might have it worse for me, that someone just might have it worse than me, it's quite humbling and gets me into a space of gratitude that I'm thankful for the things that I do have, thankful for the things I do get to do, because I'm telling you what, it's only 40 miles up the road that a town was wiped out. These people have nothing. There was people in Dollar General shopping the clearances for the water bottles and the Tupperware stuff to go and donate it to the people up in Globe. We don't need these charities. We don't need these organizations. What we do together, we move mountains. I was really blown away by that. That just people around here were rounding up and buying stuff to get it up there to Globe to these people who just have nothing. Yeah, exactly, Crafty Leo. I love that. Love that. To the world, you're just someone, but to someone, you are the world. Absolutely. I'm going to go grab my phone charger. I'll be right back because I love this discussion that we're having. It gets, it really puts things in perspective. Um, it's like a support thing and, factual stuff and what we're dealing with. So I'll be right back. I'm going to get my phone charger. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I'm just going to plug it in. I was going to tell you guys, another thing that they were doing. There's some deviant freaking people out there, man. Was here, I'll come up here and tell you guys in a sec. They were doing these like gang initiations, and to get initiated, one of the things that they came up with was, how if you're driving and you don't have your headlights on, how people will, flip the flip their headlights, signaling to you your headlights are off. Well, a gang member, to get initiated in this gang, they were driving around, and whoever responded to the lights being off were the people they were supposed to shoot to get initiated in this gang. So that means if you were driving with your lights off and I flashed you saying, "Hey, you're turn on your lights. You don't have your lights on," then that I would be the target for them to shoot. Is that not something? Oh. Say mind our own damn business. That just takes shit to a whole new level, right? Um, that was going on right here in Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix is a very big, it's like, I'd say probably the third largest city in the country. It's huge. And it's huge population wise. Because I said it before, Californians sold their average 2-3 bedroom house for $1 million and came out here and built mansions. And our infrastructure is so far behind and deteriorated and degraded that it can't handle the capacity we have now, let alone a ton more people. So when you guys hear of like LA gangs and things like that, that moved its way over here, and apparently it moved its way on all over on the rest of our country. Absolutely. Just love that. To the world, you're just someone, but to someone, you are the world. Yeah. So back in 2007, when the big economy crash happened, I went and volunteered at Salvation Army for their Christmas Angel program while I was trying to find another job. And I'll tell you what, that was their only toys that they were going to get their kids. Some kid was only going to get, a stuffed animal. We had some good stuff too. We had bicycles and little scooters. But it was like for, they did that while they could afford it. So for all the angels on the tree that didn't get bought for, all the, those dingling kettles that are outside the stores with the Salvation Army, that money was used to buy presents for, the angels on the tree that weren't bought for. That was really humbling, It was also a really hard time because, I had savings, but what I really needed was a job. Something that, get a paycheck in, keep you going. But what it also did was it really helped to pass time, and if I get called for an interview or whatever have you, then, I was able to meet the interview and, go back to working or volunteering there. I want to say I volunteered at least a couple of weeks, and I had the best time doing that. Worked with some really good people. We got free lunch. Well, nothing's free. There was a person, people don't know this, but they're a church. And one of the ladies there said, actually we're a church first. I'm like, wow. But looking by their actions, Are they feeding the poor? Are they taking care of the elderly? Are they doing these things with mine? Are they out there in the freaking community? Well, hell yes, they are. You know, um, I don't agree um, with a lot of things, and I tend to take things cafeteria style. What I did see was their action and their works, and that was first and foremost. And so, um, I had a really good time with them, and I was really sad when it ended. Because I really, really liked. It got me out of myself. Um, it let me know that like I'm not alone, and that someone else always has it worse. These turkey dinners and stuff. I mean, that might be a person's meal, and the only thing they're going to get, and who knows for how long. You know. So I don't know where I was going with that, but there's a lot of generous people out there. Um, I call some things Cadillac problems. Like my biggest Cadillac problem right now is, do I want to make pancakes or waffles? And then I have this grocery list, and I've got biscuits and sausage, so I can make biscuits and gravy. And see what happens is when I click that simple little button pay, then I can go and pick them up or have them delivered. That's a Cadillac problem today. Um, that is one reason I am grateful for all things and everything. Um, yeah, you know, I'm grateful for all this stuff that I do have. I don't have to be grateful for everything. You know, I'm not grateful that these kids are getting stoned to death. I'm not grateful that my brother got shot. I'm not grateful for just any of this stuff. Do you guys know for a while there they had a scam going on where funerals were so expensive that you had to take a little while to come up with the burial costs? And something happened to where they were working to keep the bodies in the freezer for as long as they can so that they could go in and confiscate the inheritance. So say if I lost someone and the coroner did everything they could to keep them for as long as they could, it's because they could go and levy my inheritance. That was a scam that was going on for a while. We had a person in our fellowship, it took a month to bury her. And by burying, I mean cremation. $1,000 is what they wanted. But what makes it real for us in recovery is she decided to go back out. It was 2 a.m. in the morning. She was loaded, stepped out into the middle of the road, and a car smashed her. And um, went to pull forward like they were going to, do a hit and run, but backed up. And when they backed up all over her, on her body. You just cannot believe the impact of how hard she was hit by that car. Everything was smashed. The freaking hood was smashed. The windshield was smashed. She went flying, obviously, and so her husband was passing the can around as best as he could so we could get her at least cremated. And it took 30 days to do that. They wanted $1,000 to do that. Our little $200 burial fund. That's just, boy, do I have no words. Yeah, absolutely, sweetie. Absolutely. Um, yeah. So like I was saying, I've got what you would call Cadillac problems today. Um, do I want to have waffles or do I want to have pancakes? I've got sausage or sausages and gravy on. the list that I can go and either pick up from the store or have it delivered. Those, you know, those being on the wings of the dove, you know, and just being on the flow and feeling the wings of that dove. You know, choice is a powerful thing. And that's where I really like to, you know, turn that over to, because that's what I can do. You know, some things would be just so baffling at times, like, oh, yeah. um, and we've lost a lot of people to alcoholism and addiction. And what that teaches us, you know, we say this is a selfish program, is that, you know, you, you might be able to go back out, but you might not be able to come back. You know, you might have another relapse in you, but you might not have another recovery in you. And so when this stuff happens, that was it. That's all it took. She went back out, you know, stepped out into the road and was hit like you wouldn't believe. And she's dead. Oh, by the way, that turned out to be a double funeral. Because after that happened, another friend of ours went out over that happening and died of an overdose. We had 2 funerals within a week. Yeah, that's why we have community for times like these. Absolutely. Yeah. Facts, Turban Girl. Yeah. Um, what we're experiencing, that's a freaking fact. That's where we get our freaking facts from, you know? Um, so yeah, so he went out over her dying. He went and relapsed and he overdosed. Just like that, man. We're burying 2 people within a couple days of each other. I just couldn't believe it. So, um, it keeps it real for us. No one's immune. No one's special. You know, we call it being terminally unique when we think we can, you know, this ain't going to happen to me. I could do this just once. And, you know, um, that's all it takes, you know, right down to those New Year's Evers. You know, it's New Year's Eve. You know what I'm saying? How this thought process gets me, right? It keeps it really humble. And we also have a saying that some people need to die so others can recover. Some people may need to die so others can recover. That's their freaking choice. That's all it freaking takes, is just that one time. And what it does is it keeps it foremost to me that, oh, hell no, I do not want that. You know what I mean? But for the grace of God, there go I. And yeah, it's very humbling. So apparently, you know, I mean, I think we've got enough of that. Um, we've got so much death, you know, when it comes to alcoholism and addiction. Um, but you know, everybody knows someone, right? Um, what I talk about is recovery. You know, I actually meet some people, and I don't share that with everyone. I shared it here because I don't want people sending me bottles of wine in the holidays. I'm in recovery. You know, it's very real. Please do not do that. I never, you know, they think that we're cured or something, or that we found out a normal way to drink. You know what I mean? Oh, hell no. You know, and people, they just don't know that. So I share that. because I don't want anybody sending me any. Do not send me a 6-pack. Do not send me any wine. Please do not do it. So anyhow, where was I going out with this? I can't remember what I was talking about. But yeah, I was talking about recovery. So, everybody knows someone, who's an addict or who's an alcoholic. Everybody knows someone who has died from that. But not many people meet us that are in recovery. And what I find is interesting is like how they immediately judge us. Like we're some criminal or something. And I'm like, oh, have you ever? Yeah, we do exist. We do recover. There are some of us. They get all like, I'm like, I know. Have you ever? Yeah, we do recover. It's almost like, how dare you? It's like, how dare you? I'm like, oh, have you ever heard such a thing? Yes, we do recover. Because like we're like called like the black sheep kind of a thing. And so I just go back, say to them back, I'm like, oh, have you ever? Can you believe that we actually do recover? They get the freaking. It's like just kind of like baffling how people it like stuns them for a moment. Like, you're supposed to stay a criminal, don't you know that? You're supposed to stay a, you know. Um, don't you know that? I'm like, oh, have you ever heard of such a thing? Yeah, we do recover. Oh my goodness. We're all recovering. Absolutely. Um, I'll address that in a second. There is no message without a mess. Yeah, well we talk about yeah, we can be the message or we can be the mess. We talk about sharing the message, not the mess. Um, I think it's important that we acknowledge one does bridge the other. Walk across there. Um, I agree wholeheartedly, um, Turban Girl, that we are all recovering from something. I didn't know what an alcoholic was. I didn't know what being an addict was, and a lot of people don't. It's this thought process up here, and everything else is a symptom, right? And I can't stand it when people talk when they don't have any experience on any of it. And you get these damn counselors and you get these doctors, they don't have a freaking clue. And then they put a bunch of nonsense out there. And if you're looking to get answers, you want to go to well, of course you're going to trust what these doctors say and these counselors say and what these, they have no freaking clue. They have no experience on it. And it really pisses me off. Because it's deadly. Religion thinks they're a solution to it. No, the hell they ain't. They've killed a lot of my people. A lot of us. They are a heinous, heinous thing to us. Because they don't have a clue. They just don't have a clue. And a lot of it is we just don't know how to get to a higher power. We don't know how to understand God. We have this saying, we're good at being good, but when we're bad, we're even better. That's all we know. Down on it. Because we're great screw-ups, right? But, we're good at being good, but when we're bad, we're even better. That's that. I don't need to say anymore. um, so, um, just, it's a denial is just, it's a hell of a thing. It really is. Um, what I say with those people who, they really want to try and help, they really want to do all this, I just say, God bless you. Please, go. You do have a side of the street at this point, and I need you to stay on it. Uh, yeah, all this stuff is a symptom. Um, you know, so before I got in recovery, what happened was a split second of a moment was, my God, I am an addict. Split second of a moment was, oh my God, I'm an alcoholic. And ran to the rooms and prayed, dear God, please do not let my mind deviate from where I need to be, because I am going to be nothing without it, and do everything that they're doing. And things got better. Things got better fast. A whole lot better. And yeah, I'm still grateful for it. I'm still so grateful for it. But it was just like, oh my God, I am, and I am all these things. And so with it was, if I do everything they did, then I will get everything they got. Here's the solution. You know, here's the solution. There is lots of stuff out there about addiction. There's lots of stuff on alcoholism. There's lots of books out there and talks on the disease. What we're about is recovery. you know, and I take my God, my understanding all throughout my day. And I do have experience, and he does guide and direct my thinking throughout the day. Simple things like, where did I put my pen? Where did I leave my pencil? And, it's like you get in to go and finding it, and I get taken right to whatever it is I'm looking for every time, because he's all caring and all powerful. And, that's something so small, what just wants to be helpful, just wants to take care of me, just wants to be helpful. Right. I know. I see. Ooh, my aunt struggle with alcohol. And the day she left this earth, yeah, it's hell. We don't want to be doing what we're doing. It's hell. But she's in a better place, and she no longer has to live that way. Um, I don't know what you mean by it's baffling that people recover every day. I don't know what you're meaning by that. Um, yeah. There's something in our experience that says, for God and nature alike abhor suicide. And what we are is just straight up hell bent on self destruction. We're not like normal people. Normal people seem to have that, you know, they're not hell bent on self destruction. They're not slowly committing suicide every day. They're not, for God and nature alike abhor suicide, right? But we are hell bent on self destruction any way we can. Aw. Okay. You know what? I don't. I just can't talk about it with what I was gonna say. I just can't discuss it. Um, I'll just say this. I heard it like somewhere that someone said that a new heaven and a new earth was going to be built. It's like, well, what the hell happened to the other one? You know? Oh my God. Everything. Everything. It took everything. It took me to give up everything. People, places, things, friends, purse, wallet. It was so simple to get restored to sanity. I couldn't believe it. All I did was walk through the Social Security office and was like, I'm Shannon so and so, and I need a Social Security card, please. Right in that second, keep stepping up on that social ladder. Here's the time I was born. Here's the place I was born. Here's my mother's information. I just was that. I walked right in. I mean, that's a benefit of recovery, right? It's pretty powerful, huh? I think so. Um, so, anyways, I don't want to go off on that tangent, but I just wanted to share with you guys, like, oh, is that what you meant, Crafty, by people are baffled when they hear someone's in recovery? And you're like, people recover every day. Um, they're like, I'm like, have you ever? We do recover. Did you know that? Oh my gosh. Um, so, um, what happens when we die? We die clean. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but there's some fellowships out there that give chips out. We have a 24-hour chip. We have a 30-day chip, 60-day, 90, 6-month, 18th month, 9-month, year, 18th month, and then multiples of years. Um, there's a chip that we don't ever get to see, and it's the eternity chip. It's the eternity medallion. It's the only chip that we will get that we won't ever get to see, and that's when we die clean. Because how we feel about it is that we don't have to struggle with it anymore, and we clean for eternity. As best as we can have a nice, cozy thought of that, we don't have any experience on it. Our experience is nobody's ever came back to see it. Oh. Okay. Yeah, because of relationship and not religion. That is such a really great way to put that, Turban Girl. Very well put on that. A relationship, a personal relationship, you know, and get rid of the middle person who knows nothing but what he's been brainwashed into. There's a lot of that going on, and there's a lot of abuse. Um, I'll tell you what. I don't know any. I don't know. I don't. I don't know how I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say it, but something was brought to my attention about Kenneth Copeland. I thought he put some stuff in a very simple, practical way. Um, like he all of a sudden has like $20 million mansions, 4 private jets. I didn't know any of this. Um, these people, you know, they can say stuff that just sounds so good, but what are they doing in their lives? I don't know how I'm trying to say what I'm trying to say, but, how are they living their lives? Are they living that? Who was it, Billy Graham, that went with the prostitute? No, I guess we're really not all really well. I felt like doing was maybe I can because I don't think you've ever fully recovered. I'm being bad right now. See, I know how twisted like this diseases and stuff like that. That's why I don't accept prop responsibility that involves the care of the people, and it's because I'm not ready for it. It just scares me to death. You know, put money in my hands, man. I just don't know, you guys. So it's better that I don't. Of all these people, one of us can take care of such matters. Um, yeah, you know, yeah. We get messages all day long. It's like more like the works is what I need. Experience of that of see what the essence is. We just had to find a new way to live, a whole new way to live, and it involves complete surrender. And you know, um, you know, it just so it's just like a matter of when people talk about bottoms and stuff like that. When is enough enough? Um, and I mean, when's enough enough? So it got to a point to where I realized I am this, and therefore, oh my God. And then, ran to the solution. And the solution was I had to find a way to live. Because the way I was living definitely wasn't working. Yeah, I love that. The spiritual life is not a theory. We have to live it. And, that kind of, there's some stuff that doesn't make sense to a whole lot of people. I'll tell you what makes sense to us. You know, um, to you all and everyone else out there, you guys may have some stuff that makes some good sense to you, but it may not make sense to us, you know. Um, but what I know is, um, for this time being, we're not hitting each other. We're not biting each other. you know. Um, yeah, so right now I bribe my kid. I know, shoot me for it. Because the way I see it, there's a lot going on in this world that she can't get to. She went to cosmetology school. The instructor purposely melted the hair color wrong because Allie had to go out and find clients. Um, Part of their course, at the end of their course, was they had to do a perm, they had to do a color, they had to do some other stuff, and you have to go find, friends, family member, volunteers. This lady deliberately mixed her color wrong. Allie didn't know. She's like, oh, okay. Put it on the lady, and it turned out hideous. Another time, so she went into being a beauty anesthetist, and it's where they do laser scar removal on people, and that kind of stuff is in these massage places or beauty aesthetic places. So she was getting this stuff ready to do scar removal on a lady. The lady grabbed her, reached right out and grabbed her. The owner of the place did not banish the customer from coming there and told Allison that she was in the wrong. Allie quit and filed a police report. Police did nothing. Nothing. You know, I mean, that devastated my kid, for a very long time. She's still devastated by it. So I just bribe her, you know. As a parent, you just feel so helpless to this stuff that just shouldn't even be happening. Just should not freaking be happening. Yeah, it was an instructor that did that. An instructor went and said, "Oh, I'll go get the color for you," and mixed it and everything right in front of her. Handed it to my daughter and says, "Okay, now you can put this on." So my kid put it on and it came out hideous. Believe this. There's something going on in our world that is out to brutally, ruthlessly fail us. You know, there's some other channel owners that stated that there are people out to fail us. There are people here on YouTube, that go along as fellow subscribers, as fellow channel owners, part of the community. Their sole purpose to be there is to fail us. No, they're not supposed to do that. That's what I'm trying to state. They are not supposed to do that, and this one did it. And, Allison worked so hard in that course. She worked her butt off on it. And for it was such a slap in the face, you know? Yeah, they're definitely not supposed. So, okay, so she went into beauty anesthetist where she wanted to do laser scar tissue removal. Um, so whether it was like if you have scars or tattoos or something like that, um, she went to school to get a degree to be able to do that. And like I said, this one place was out of a massage place, and they offered the laser scar removal as a service that they did. And so Allison was getting, the lasers ready and everything, and the patient was in the room and reached out and freaking grabbed her and groped her. And Allison just jumped back real quick and left the room and went to the owner, and the owner did not banish that customer. Basically told Allison she has to put up with it, and Allison filed a police report, and they did nothing. And so Allison had no choice but to quit. Yeah. So with that being said, um, I don't know if it's a solution or if it's an answer. I really don't care. Right here in this moment, I just want to make her a little bit happy in which way I can. Oh, it's already 9:27 a.m. Are you guys ahead? It's 9:27 here in Arizona in the morning. I think what I really got out of basketing and being with the people, in that moment, it just feels so good. It feels like, something you just can't describe. Yeah, you would have quit too. Okay. 9, 10, 11, 12. You're 3 hours ahead. Okay, so I'm trying to think here. Midnight. 9, 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12. So 9 p.m. is our time. Midnight would be your time. And I'm just trying to think here for, when the system clicks over to the next day for the clearances and stuff. She tried to sue too for the employer, for the owner, fostering a hostile work environment, and no lawyer would take her case. And nowadays, I mean, you got to pay good money. It's like, you know what, assholes, you know, they could get a good chunk of change from that. But no lawyer would take her case. It just really did. It really devastated her. All right. Um, so yeah, so with my mom, I was telling you guys about my mother, and um, you know, just like how not to be codependent in it, and just how to be what I feel would be a good person. Um, a person of compassion, merciful, loving, and caring, um, kind of a thing, because, um, I want to do this for you, because, it's like it's your birthday, and, but I feel like a lot of times I have to, I also have to like walk on eggshells. Like, who else does this except for me and my household? And I gotta like pray, God, just have me, just have me, just have me, because, sometimes it gets to a point to where I get so pissed off, all I can do is leave it at her doorstep, or it's gonna end up in her face. It's like, who else does this in there? Only my household. Okay, it's 11:32 for you in Texas. You're 2 hours ahead of me and 1 hour behind Eastern time, Turban Girl. Thank you so much, Turban Girl. I really appreciate it. She's a very talented girl. She has she's very talented. Um, Thank you for saying that. I like how you put that when the time is, when it's time. I really appreciate that. Because she's 28 years old. I'm going to be 50. Um, Sometimes I get in that space where it's like, God, is there anything left? Is there going to be anything left for me in my life that I get to live, something with it? Is there going to be anything left? And I got to think about, God is all powerful. All powerful. Well, of course, there's going to be something left. Some way, somehow. I mean, something that moved heaven and earth to get me scissors overnight. Well, of course, there's got to be something left. Yeah, there's more than enough. Um, but when you get, like I said, I'm going to be 50. My mother's 69. Um, I just don't know how to explain that. Um, it's a negative line of thinking, but it's a thinking out of fear and concern. Look, I'm, past being middle aged, and this has been a long run for a very long time. Is there going to be anything freaking left? Are things permanently freaking damaged? Are relationships permanently damaged and destroyed? Um, you know, is there going to be anything left? Because this world has been pushed and challenged and tested, just destroyed. Just so freaking destroyed. Is there going to be anything freaking left for us to be able to do something? You know, um, it's not natural for us to be up all hours of the night, worried, frustrated, concerned, beyond matters beyond our freaking control, not having anything healthy or an opportunity thereof to have that with friends, people, strangers. Um, I don't know, but I get that thought process and I have to take it to the God of my understanding. And I do have those honest conversations. There's got it. Well, yeah. I mean, there's got to be something. God can change time. God, let me tell you guys something. When our President Trump said daylight savings time needs to end, there's something big is going on. Bigger than you, bigger than me, bigger than this world, bigger than anything we can comprehend. He says daylight savings time has got to end. Oh my God, I laughed so hard. I'm like, okay, he knows. He knows. All right, well, I'm going to tell you what. I said it before with you guys. That it says, had time not been cut short, all would have perished. All would have perished. So I was laughing so hard when he said, daylight savings time needs to end. You guys, I gotta tell you, I don't know, I just can't stand it when they put in our minds and brainwashing just so easily, but what an angel looks like, and we think of a light and wings and a halo kind of a thing. We really don't know what could be an angel. We really don't know how angels can work. Slow down, don't resist to 50. I love you. I love you, Crafty. I don't know. Have you ever been like so just busy with chaos, with dealing with so much chaos and just busy in your life that you realize the years go by so fast? And then like I learned, like, what have I done with my life? Like, if I just self-will run riot, is there going to be anything left? Lord, I'm tired of being my own tornado. It's never too late. Absolutely. I was telling you guys, that I decided that I'm not going to do Christmas because Valentine's is so massive right now. And that I just wanted to enjoy that stuff, and that I couldn't do both. I couldn't do the holidays and do baskets at the same time. And have them be successful, to get what I want out of that stuff. So, my God, I've got German chocolate cakes I haven't made in like 3 years. I have a carrot cake I haven't made in 15 years. Yeah, is there anything left? Well, yeah, there's lots. I just need to kind of help myself to it. Get out the book, go to the store, crafty. And if we have something right now, You know, I mean, we don't need to be worried about if there's anything left. Oh, I know. My goodness. On my personal goodness. Oh, my personal. Oh, my goodness. That was so hard for me to do. I love baking. You know, we got the oven. We just hit a couple buttons. I got a really nice mixer over here. Hit a button. Oh my goodness. Oh gosh, you're so funny. I just want to shout out to all the other people who have channels and that have, you know, the bravery and the courage um, to come up on here and talk and discuss, and to the subscribers who participate. Um, you know, you guys are just everything. Yes, you've been acquiring wisdom and knowledge to share with others. Yeah, absolutely. You guys, I don't know if you guys believe in like mediums or psychics or anything like that. Um, I went to one 20 years ago now. It almost put her in counseling. Because she saw other things through that with our world. She still ain't doing well. Now I can't imagine being her. You know, we hear about stuff. She sees it. And so anyhow, keep laughing. It is, laughter's the best medicine. It lightens the heart so much. I think laughter can do a lot of things that medicine can't. You know, I don't. Keep laughing. It is good, like medicine. Crafty says I don't. It is the best medicine. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't want to talk too much more about gifted people because they are gifted. Um, you know, our bodies, they've evolved through years that we can't comprehend. And so, anyhow, you know, I do believe some people out there have that gift, and I believe it because I've experienced. Some people call them prophets. Anyways, I've experienced what she saw in the timeline for me. You know, so I've got experience. And so that's all I needed. There's people out there, a lot of them that are on the take, and you know, you really got to be watchful of that stuff. But this lady was on talk radio. You know, back when they weren't all corrupt and conspiracious and out to get us. Um, and so if they're on there, you know, they got to be pretty legit. You know, here you're dealing with a mass amount of people, and you know, radio stations aren't just going to trust anyone to come up on there. Um, but anyways, she saved my life. She didn't do it once, but she did it twice. And she saw me breaking my neck. And then she saw me breaking my neck again. And that always stood out as I'm going through this timeline and events come to pass, what I'm needing to watch out for, when, what's going to happen with what. And no matter what, get your ass to the hospital, get your ass to the hospital, because she says, you almost don't make it. I was like, what the hell could she be talking about? I'm in recovery. I'm a freaking health nut. Uh, I'm a meet commitments, am responsible, am disciplined, and I don't screw around with my health, you know. And I'm like, my God, what could she be talking about? Because you break a neck, that's pretty serious. I'm like, what is it, a car accident or what? I wear my seatbelt. I am cautious. You know what I'm saying? And she says, I don't know, but you do. It's your neck, and you end up having the surgery. You're gonna make it. And she saw it twice, and something going on with the thyroid. Now that's my experience, but I'm gonna tell you what. My ass was in the hospital, and my ass made it into that surgery um, because of that. Because a broken neck isn't like what you think it is. You like slowly, subtly go downhill. You lose your balance. You just maybe think you're clumsy. It's not what you think it is, but it's this, you know, slow downhill. And by the time the symptoms um, are impairing your life and making it unmanageable to a certain point, you're like, golly, something's really wrong with me. I better get to a doctor. It's too late. Some of those symptoms, going on towards the ends, my neurosurgeon said, you know, when these certain symptoms come about, it's too late. And I made it. I got to him just in time. And that was a couple times this happened. The other time was during freaking COVID, with all the damn shutdowns and everything. Um, my relationship with my higher power, with my God, is that and just that. But my God does use tools. He has trusted servants. Um, you know, he works within phenomena to get messages to me, to let me know things, to experience in creation other gifts that people have. But I'm going to tell you what, yeah, I took that, and every bit of that, I wouldn't have made it. That was always in my fourth sight, where I'm at in this darn timeline, always in my fourth sight. And it happened just like she said, even though it was in my foresight, she's like, you almost don't make it. And it's because the neurological symptoms are just so slow and subtle. And guess what? I almost freaking didn't make it. But there was no voodoo. There was none of that at all when I met with her. Um, you know, Long Island medium. She's a great down to earth person to watch, who really blows my mind. And she's just an average person. Oh, um, you know what I heard from from someone just out there on the in the rooms was something about we are in an evil Israel, and we're in a battle of good and evil. We're not in a battle of saints and evil. We're not in a battle of the chosen and evil. None of that. It was just real simple. I believe most people, good, simple, average people, are good people. But it like addressed that, like we're at a battle of good and evil. And, um, I gotta tell you guys, um, I don't know how to explain. Like I said, we get like words and definitions in this. Brainwashing takes place somehow. Um, she saved my life in more ways you can imagine, and I absolutely love her. And she doesn't hold back. She tells it like it is. She freaking tells it like it is, man. And they ran her off. Oh, they've been trying to run her off Facebook, YouTube, any kind of social media. They have been running her off. And because it's because she's of a value. She's trying to alert us to some stuff. But anyhow, um, you know, I look forward to your guys' inspiration any chance I can get it. Because I think for us to be getting up and doing what we do and knocking out these baskets and the creativity that comes about of it and circumstances that we are in is that natural. I don't think it is. I think it's a miracle. It's a miracle. You all are miracles. And that's not natural, you guys. You guys are miracles. Some way, somehow, we have the strength to do what we do. It's a strength not of our own. I firmly believe it. It's a strength not of our own. We are getting it from some way, somehow, somewhere. God is giving us the strength to do this. To choose in our day, in our creativity, dealing with family matters, you got work, whatever it is. This is a strength not of our own. And I want you guys to know that. Um, I just, you know, um, I think things are going to accelerate here. Um, Trying to explain how that would be, you know, yeah, days go by faster, nights go by faster, events come to play faster. Um, I just feel like things are going to be rapidly accelerating. Uh, and the overall, like within the world and our surroundings, with things, with stuff. Um, and so, with that being said, what's my part? What do I need to do? Just the best I can to plan and adjust for this stuff. Um, like I said, it's October and I'm doing Christmas for family. It's because I have the time now. I have the money. I have the stuff. I want to make sure they have that ready for them. Oh my gosh, you're precious, Gina. Thank you for the thumbs up. I really appreciate it. You're a great supporter. Gina always shows up, you know. Crafty Leo shows up. You show up, girl. And y'all got amazing talents. Um, it's good to have people like that who, you know, support support each other and um sometimes and it's the truth. I feel like there's others that come in because you just simply don't have the strength to. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, someone will step in at just the right time because you just, you do not have the strength to, and, I'm so thankful for that. I wouldn't be live here without you guys. I wouldn't be live here without Crafty Leo, you know, shouting me out, and Hope with JCD Creations, our wonderful Pooh. Um, you guys did what I could not do for myself. And for that, I want to thank you. Aw, Crafty Lee. Hey there, Maria. We're just chatting right now, having some good discussions on things, getting a good focus, a good mindset, some good direction, addressing concerns. Um, what do we need to do that's our part? You know, um, I kind of like to look at it as like, okay, my house is in fire. Dear God, what do I do? Get out. Dear God, my house is in fire. What's your will for me? Get out. It's that simple. you know? And I get these little firestorms happening. I don't know if I'm starting them or someone else is starting them. And God, what do I do? Get out. Oh my goodness. Quick, fast, and in a hurry, dear Lord. You know? And, what we're running from and what we're running to, just trying to get that, the compass is there. I'm just, yeah. Which way is north again? You know what I mean? It's just, things are gonna be just like that's it. That's simple. Oh my goodness, I have a good time with you guys. I always have a good time with you guys. All right, I'm gonna end this live because my throat is starting to get sore. I want to take a little nap before I pick up my mom's birthday cake. I want to thank you guys for being here. You guys are wonderful support. You guys are great to talk to. You guys are wonderful in the community. Um, God's got some awesome things in His creation, and He's got some awesome people in His creation, and lots of good talents I'm seeing expressed. So I want to let you guys know that. I might be on later. I might not. We'll see how it goes with the cake. If I come on with cake in my face, you guys will know. So, anyways, yeah, I'm just, expect the worst and hope for the best. So, I think it's really cool that I get to pick up a cake from one of us. Um, she does specialty cakes, and I've got money to do that. I got discipline to do that. I can show up to do that. That's my part. So I want you guys to be blessed. Thank you all for being on. And thank you. I really appreciate that, Gina. You're so much with us, and for being so transparent. Have a blessed day. Enjoy. I enjoyed the live. Crafty, thank you. I really enjoyed the live too. And I'll be seeing you guys again soon. So, I'm Shannon with Cinderella's Mice, and I'll be seeing you guys again soon. All right.